I opened my safe and found it empty. We donated everything, my daughter-in-law Diane smirked. You're too old for money anyway. I stood there silent for a moment, letting her words sink in. Then I smiled calmly. You're right. I don't need it. I turned to leave. But you'll need a lawyer. Her smile froze and then she disappeared completely. My name is Eleanor Hayes and I'm 72 years old. That morning started like any other Wednesday. I'd made myself a cup of tea and was planning to sort through some old photographs when my son Robert and his wife Diane stopped by unannounced. They had keys to my house, of course. Robert had insisted on it years ago after his father passed away. Just in case of emergencies, he'd said. I thought it was sweet at the time. Morning, Mother, Robert said, kissing my cheek quickly. He seemed nervous, his eyes darting around my living room as if seeing it for the first time. Diane stood in the doorway with that thin smile of hers. It's the one that never quite reached her eyes. We need to talk to you about something important, she said, walking past me into my kitchen like she owned the place. I followed them, still holding my teacup. Something felt off, but I couldn't quite place it. Eleanor, Diane began. She never called me Mom like Robert's first wife used to. We've been thinking about your future. If you're not getting any younger. I sat down at my kitchen table. It's the same table where I'd served countless meals to my family over the years. Where Robert had done his homework as a boy. Where my late husband Thomas and I had shared our morning coffee for 43 years. I'm managing just fine, I said gently. Are you though? Diane crossed her arms. This house is too big for you. The stairs are dangerous. Frankly, all that money just sitting in your safe is wasted. My heart skipped a beat. How do you know what's in my safe? I asked quietly. Robert couldn't meet my eyes. Mom, we have your keys, remember? We were worried about you, so we checked on things and, well, we found it open one day. That was a lie. I never left my safe open. Never. We've made some decisions for your own good, Diane continued. We've donated the cash to several charities. Very reputable ones. And we're going to help you sell this house and move you into a nice assisted living facility. There's a lovely one about 20 minutes from us. Sat very still. The morning light was coming through my kitchen window. The same light that had warmed this room for 50 years. I could see my rose garden outside. The one Thomas and I had planted together when Robert was just a baby. How much did you take? I asked. Take. We didn't take anything, Diane said quickly. We donated it. All of it. $78,000 to people who actually need it. You're too old to need money anyway. What were you going to do with it? A sports car. She laughed at her own joke. Robert shifted uncomfortably. Mom, try to understand. This is better for everyone. I looked at my son, really looked at him. When had he become someone I didn't recognize? I stood up slowly. My knees ached, like they always did these days, but I stood tall. You're right, I said softly. I don't need it. Diane's face lit up with triumph. I walked to the front door and held it open. But you'll need a lawyer. The color drained from Diane's face. What? A lawyer? I repeated calmly. Because what you've done is called theft and fraud. And possibly elder abuse. Now wait just a minute, Diane sputtered. We donated that money to charity, did you? I asked. Which charities exactly? I'd love to see the receipts. Silence. Get out of my house, I said quietly. Both of you. Mom, Robert started. I said, get out. They left. Diane was furious, slamming the door behind them. Robert looked back once, confused and hurt, but he went. I sat down in Thomas's old chair and cried, not for the money, but for my son. For the boy he used to be and the man he'd become. The next morning I called my lawyer, James Patterson. He'd handled Thomas's estate and had been a friend for 30 years. Kay Loner, he said warmly when I explained everything. Kay, I'm so sorry you're going through this. But I'm glad you called me. Within 2 weeks, James had filed all the necessary paperwork. It turned out Diane had lied about the donations. The money had gone into an account in her name. She'd been planning to use it as a down payment on a vacation home. Robert claimed he didn't know. Maybe that was true. Maybe he'd been too blind to see who he'd married. Either way, he'd allowed it to happen. The legal process was long and exhausting. But I had something Diane hadn't counted on. I had time. Okay. And I had friends, not my neighbor Dorothy brought me soup. My book club rallied around me with casseroles and company. My younger sister flew in from Arizona and stayed for 2 weeks. "You're stronger than you think," she told me one evening as we sat on my porch watching the sunset. "You always have been." It took almost a year, but eventually everything was settled. Diane had to return the money plus additional damages. She and Robert divorced 6 months after that. I heard through Dorothy that Diane moved back east somewhere. Robert called me one day in late October. His voice was small and broken. "Mom, I'm so sorry. I didn't see what you was doing. I should have protected you." I let him talk, let him cry, let him grieve for his mistakes. "Can you forgive me?" he asked finally. "I already have," I said. And I meant it. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, doesn't mean trust is instantly restored, but it means you don't let bitterness poison what's left of your life. Robert and McKay started having lunch together once a month, slowly, carefully, building something new from the rubble of what had broken. He's dating a teacher now, kind woman named Patricia who volunteers at an animal shelter. She doesn't call me Eleanor. She calls me what Robert's first wife used to call me. Mom, I'm still in my house, still tending my rose garden, still having tea in my kitchen every Wednesday morning. The money is back in my safe, but I've made some changes. I've set up a trust, designated portions for charities, I've researched myself. And I've made sure Robert will be taken care of when I'm gone, but not in a way that can be stolen or misused. I learned something through all of this. Being old doesn't mean being foolish. It doesn't mean being helpless. And it certainly doesn't mean being too old for anything. Every day is a gift. Even the hard ones. Maybe especially the hard ones. Because they remind us we're still here, still strong, still capable of protecting ourselves and the ones we love. I'm 73 now. I've never felt more alive.